Hi, my name's Phyllis Solomon, and I am the program coordinator for JCA Interages, a project that we started almost about a year ago. It's called the Intergenerational Interviews. And I'm excited about this one with Jimmy and Judge Weinstein. And I will let you guys take it off.
Good morning. My name is Jimmy, and I am attending 10th grade in the fall semester. And I thought I can do something meaningful during the summer holiday. And here I come, joining the interview program. I look forward to beginning our interview project today. Shall we begin, Judge Weinstein?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I heard it wasn't very easy to become a judge. So at what age did you begin to be interested in the field of law?
Well, I graduated college from Washington and Lee University in 1955, and I started law school the next fall, in the fall of September 55, and I graduated in February of 1959, and I began practicing law at that time. I always wanted to be a trial lawyer, and I started in 59, and I practiced law up through 1983 when I was appointed a judge in the District Court of Maryland, where I served for 3 years. And then I was elevated to the Circuit Court for Montgomery County in 1986. And I remained a judge until I had to retire in 1970. And then I became what's known as a senior judge. And I served an additional 15 years as a senior judge until 1985.
Wow, that's a long journey.
It was a long journey, 35 years.
Yeah, that's interesting. Would you tell me a little more about your weekly experience of being a circuit court judge?
The circuit court in Maryland has what's known as general jurisdiction over many, many subjects. We hear criminal cases, we hear civil cases, we hear family cases, we hear juvenile cases, and we hear what's known as probate cases involving administration of estates of people who have passed. In limited situations, we sit as an appellate court for the administrative agencies within the state of Maryland, primarily within Montgomery County, such as zoning issues, regulatory issues involving almost anything that deals with the citizens.
Wow, that's a lot of field.
A lot of things to do, and I had the honor of becoming the administrative judge in 1992, I think it was. But I made very significant changes in the court system over the years. As the population grew, the workload grew, and it got to a point where we had to become modernized. And with the advent of the computer, we were able to do that.
Yeah, that's interesting because as the technology grows, you need to think of new ways to deal with the new things.
Yes, very much so. I did not grow up with the computer. I grew up with a typewriter and a copying machine. With the coming of the computer, we had a difficult job trying to convert the older judges from using typewriters to using computers, because the older judges were scared to death that they were going to hit something and it was going to blow up. I don't think I ever quite convinced all of the judges that the computer wouldn't blow up, but most of them adjusted. Now the judges on the court are much younger and they grew up with the computer, so it's much easier for them to use it. But it was a godsend for administrative purposes. We were able to expedite cases, and we became very efficient. So much so that I reduced the backlog significantly.
Yeah, that was a very funny experience. So do you receive a case every other day or only one per week?
Depends on the length of the trial. You could receive a new case every day, every other day, once a week. It all depends on how long that particular matter took. we let the lawyers tell us how much time they needed to try their case. And if they said 3 days, that's what they got, 3 days. If they said 4 days, they got 4 days. That's what you had, just what you told us. So
yeah, that's interesting. So I heard you were also a very famous football player. Was it hard to balance your school studies and your life as a football player?
well, I started playing football as a very young man. When I got to high school, I played on the high school football team. I received a scholarship to play football at Washington and Lee University, where I played for 2 years. But then I sustained an injury to my knee, and that was sort of the end of my football career.
Yeah, it's always good you start at a young age and then keep practicing.
Things have changed a little bit as far as football is concerned now. There are too many injuries. I don't think today, if I had a young son or even a grandson who wanted to play football, maybe past high school, would I encourage them to do that. It's just not the same game it was 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Yeah. So how has it changed your life that you retire now and not going to the court? Do you still miss your experience being in the court?
Primarily, I miss the people that I work with. I had about 100 people that I was responsible for in addition to the judges. The people that worked for me were very loyal and they were most supportive.
Yeah, I agree with you. So those are all the questions I prepared for this interview. I like your experiences and I really appreciate your time with me for this interview. Thank you.